Alex Yehorov, how are you? Thanks for coming on board, buddy. It's great to meet you today.
Hey man, how are you doing? I'm doing fantastic. We're so excited being on your show.
Yeah, no, me too. I just had a really great conversation. This is one of those episodes where it's a first time meet, and I always really enjoy these because we get to find out stuff. I obviously had a little look at what you do, and it's very much in alignment with LPT and mastering you. And I can see that you're very much the same as myself in that, fitness, nutrition, very important to you, but you're very aware of just how important the other areas of life, your mindset, your personal development are into making those smaller kind of micro elements that, really when we look at it, that the fitness is often seen as the big thing, right? But often really they're the micro elements to a far bigger picture. Is that something that you've really found over time as you become a coach for, how long have you been a coach for now, Alex?
I've been coaching for about 2 years, but I've started the weight loss journey, the health journey back in 2012. So the journey was long.
Yeah, I want to get into that. Yeah.
Yeah. So the backstory, right? Well, most of the people starting their weight loss journey when they overweight or fat or whatever, right? I found myself in 2012 where I was depressed, where I was very toxic and negative, where I had I was skinny to begin with. I was skinny. Didn't have the confidence, the energy, the vitality. I worked 9 to 5 at the job that I absolutely hated. And I didn't like anything. Life was really, really miserable. So it's not like I hit rock bottom once and then that's it. No, throughout my life, it happened multiple times, but that was one of the spot. And what I figured, I also had multiple addictions, such as drug addiction. I was abusing alcohol 6 times a week. I was drinking ton of beer, smoking 2-pack of cigarettes. What else?
What kind of age were you at this point, Alex?
If right now I'm 34, 2012, it's roughly 24 years old, 25 years old, in my 20s. And to be honest, in my 20s, I felt awful. Even in my teens, like 19, because I was drinking prior to that, right? So, and what I figured is I decided to start, I figured that at least what I can do is maybe go to the gym and build some muscle so I can get feeling better, a little bit healthier, and actually more confident with the opposite sex, for example, and just in general socializing, right? Because again, I was skinny, I was not that moody all the time and not that happy in all areas of my life. So that's the first step that I started in 2012. I started lifting a little bit weight here and there. And as I was going about this process, I started gaining some muscles a little bit, but then I started noticing that I'm gaining fat. And this is where I figured that nutrition part, exercise is important, but without nutrition, proper healthy nutrition, you might not feel good as you thought it would be, because fitness and health ended up being completely different two things that I start learning and digging about. So after that, obviously, I've been doing different kind of diets, paleo diet, bulletproof diet, keto, and just crazy stuff like 12 meals a day, bodybuilder style, so to speak. But this is where I started with, and I felt awful, always bloating, always just don't do that, guys. Just don't do that. And the things became better when, again, I start finding the nutrition and making those my own nutritional principles that worked for me. Mood started becoming better, the more lean muscle, start burning fat. Everything starts slowly improving, not in one day. It didn't happen like, hey, nutrition fix, that's it, now whole life is perfect. Again, life was getting in the way multiple times, and I found for myself intermittent fasting about 5 years ago, or 6 already, I guess. I found intermittent fasting, and that was a big game changer for me, again, for the health, for the weight loss, for the appearance, for the just freedom from not consistently thinking about food, consuming food, doing the dishes, doing the groceries, etc., etc. So especially back then when I didn't have a wife. Right now my wife can take care of that, but back then it was really hard, right, for myself. And the last component that actually triggered was the mindset. And people think that strategies are important, the most important part, where in reality, 80% of success comes from the mindset and only 20% success comes from the strategies. Now, don't get me wrong, strategies meaning how to lose the weight, how to exercise, how to eat properly, how to fast, how to whatever biohacks you're doing, right? It is important, but it's 20% mechanics, 80% is actually the mindset, You gotta align your belief system. You gotta have your vision. You gotta have, and I believe we're gonna talk today about that for quite a while. But the point is, everything start actually clicking for me when I align my mindset, my psychology with those
how did
strategies.
you come to that conclusion though, Alex? Like, you know, what was it, like one day it hit you, or was it like a series of struggles that found you down the route of trying to improve your mindset? How did the mindset thing occur to you?
It was a series of struggles, and it was even binge eating behavior where I would go and do my healthy keto, and it was awesome. I finally figured what works for me, and then fasting, and it was perfect for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then I would slip into old behavior again to eat garbage and overeat and binge eat for a few days, for example. So as I told you before, prior to this call, I told you that I'm big time into self-development, not only into health and weight loss and things like that, big time in the self-development. And this is where it always shows up, no matter you buying the course or coach about the business, how to build the business or relationship or emotions, everywhere it shows up that mindset is important. And this is where I start digging into that, start buying different books, again, different meditations, visualizations. Oh my gosh, I've done a lot of this inner work, and slowly that start driving me to actually changing my my old self. I break the pattern of being the old self and start shaping me towards the way I wanted to be consistently, because it's all we're talking. It's about getting lasting results. I think you notice some of the clients, they just lose weight and gaining it back, or just not clients, just people around the world. Everybody is losing weight, but to stick to the things, it's supposed to be a lifestyle. You're supposed to reframe your own self, change the identity, you can say this way. So that was the biggest one for me.
Yeah, we see it so much, don't we? The gaining weight, the losing weight. My belief is that education does play a big part, and understanding what you're doing on the journey to losing weight. Like why, like understanding, okay, well, I'm following this plan. Like it seems to me a lot of people will just go on a plan and just it'll be like, oh, am I losing weight or am I gaining weight? Whereas you should already know in advance, because if you're knowing what you're doing and you're knowing the principles behind what you're doing, if you're knowing how you're tracking, then there shouldn't really be much guesswork. It's a bit like if you're an accountant, you don't just guess what the profit and loss is at the end of the month. Like you follow the numbers and you're plugging them into the spreadsheet. And so I think, I don't know about you, but I believe that education is really crucial. It's one of the reasons why I do this podcast, is to hopefully share some wisdom, you know, so that people, when they have a bad week, they know why they've gained weight because of their behaviors.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, analytic is one of the part of the 7-step formula that I use. I've created sort of the body mastery roadmap, and maybe we'll dive a little bit into this roadmap later. But the analytics is one of the step which crucial to in order to make the lasting change and see actually what's working, what's not, so you can eliminate what's not working and install what's working. That's for sure, man.
Yeah. Well, listen, let's get straight into it.
Yep.
So this is your 12 principles?
No, 12. I have 12 principles of nutrition, but I would rather start from this, the body mastery roadmap. Yes, because it's more about mindset. And after that, you already have this tactic like nutrition, this, you know what I'm saying? So that's the body mastery roadmap. It's a 7-step to creating lasting change. It's actually 7 steps to lose weight and keep it actually off. That's my main focus. And of course, as you go with that, you will improve your health and stick to the good habits and whatnot. So step number 1, I always wanna, and in the past, I didn't have this step to be honest at all. Now I put it in the first step because it's forgiveness. You have to embrace your failure and forgive yourself, because believe it or not, most of the people who are tuning in right now, we all fell off the wagon. We said we're going to commit to the daily exercises, physical activities, whatever the case might be. Maybe you promised to yourself that you're not going to eat this garbage food, and then you again eating that, and then we all gone through that. You have to understand, you, my friend, not broken. You are human being. You're not a human doing. So the point, what I'm trying to make is, you have to realize that it happens. It did happen in the past. I don't care what happened with you in the past, and even with me, to be honest. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just trying to explain to you.
I really like this first step. a lot of people's first steps tend to be sort of the same. It's like, create your vision and create your goals and what's your why. But I think starting with, because let's face it, most of the people are stuck in the past. And you're basically saying, listen, like, we can't deal with that until we just forgive ourselves for, let's stop being so hard on yourself for whatever you've done in the past. It doesn't matter. Let's move on.
Exactly. The past, Tony Robbins say, the past does not equal the future. And I found it for myself completely true. And again, even Thomas Edison, it took him 10,000 failures, 10,000 attempts to create the light bulb that we use right now worldwide. And what he reframed it, he actually said, hey, I found 9,999 ways how you're not going to make the light bulb. So there is always some positivity in everything, as long as you keep on learning from your mistakes in the past. You're forgetting yourself, not beating yourself up, because if you go, yes.
Also, what I would say, and for people listening, is, what will get you somewhere doesn't mean that same method will get you somewhere else, right? So, a plan or a certain nutrition plan or a fitness plan that may work for you at a time in your life, but that doesn't mean that it's going to work for you again, 10 years later, because obviously our metabolism slowed down, our lifestyles change, the amount of time that you have to dedicate to training will change as you get older. So it's very likely that you kind of need to review your whole system, your whole sort of training and nutrition system.
Analytics, again, that I was saying. So the step number one, again, is simple. Forgive yourself. Don't beat yourself up. But it doesn't mean to lower your standards and keep on binging or whatever. No, you're actually aware that you failed in the back. You forgive yourself truly. And I'm talking about you sit down and really spend 30 minutes with yourself, and really forgive yourself. Try to let it go. Otherwise, there is no reason to go to the next steps. But let's dive to the step number two. Step number two, which you also already mentioned, a couple of my steps already you mentioned, because they're crucial. I mean, you might didn't know them, but they're crucial. Step number two is here's where you need to create the vision. You need to create your outcome. For you, what are you looking for this specific, how your body going to look like, how you want to feel? You have to create the vision, because even Arnold Schwarzenegger said, and I like it, if you don't have the vision and if you don't have the goal, you're going to be just drifting around, and you're never going to be happy, and you're never going to go anywhere. Never going to get anywhere. So the point is, you have to have your vision, you have to have your goal, and your goal better to be SMART. The acronym SMART stands from specific, measurable, achievable, because a lot of the time people just put this huge goal. Hey, I want to make $1 million in a day, or drop 100 pounds in a month. It's not sustainable. Goals supposed to be specific, measurable, again, analytics, and achievable, supposed to be reasonable, it's supposed to be timed. You're supposed to have some kind of the deadline. It doesn't supposed to be perfect, but it's your vision at the current time, something that's compelling, something that's waking you up in the morning. And that leads me to the step number three, which is get leverage on yourself. Leverage yourself. You need to create, you need to turn your should into the must. Oh, I should to reach that goal. No, you have to make it absolutely must. And the way you're doing that is by utilizing the two main forces that control in human lives, which is the pain and the pleasure. And the point is, all we're trying to do as a human being is to avoid pain and to go get as much pleasure as possible. And sometimes those two things might be tricking you, because you might link a lot of the pain, you might link a lot of the pleasure to eat the cake, and at the same time, you might link a lot of the pain to do workout. And now pain and pleasure uses you instead of you uses it. You absolutely have to reframe that in your head. And again, everything I say is actually applicable. It's actually steps for practical applications. It's not like you just tune into this episode and again, okay, I've learned so many things. Learning, my friend, is not enough. You absolutely have to apply, and applying not enough. Eventually you have to master it. Basically what I'm trying to say is, third layer is to live that daily. So whatever I'm saying, please put times, mark in your calendar, set up the time to forgive yourself, set up the time to write your vision as specific as you can, 30 minutes after this podcast, or just pause and do it right now, whatever the case might be for you. You might be driving the car, you might be working right now, but at least schedule that. If you put it in the schedule, this is how you're going to build momentum, and those slow steps will adapt. And the step number 4 is basically, what was it? Step number 2, we've gone step number 4 is the big one as well. Obviously, you probably heard about things like limiting beliefs. You probably heard those voices, this noise inside your head. And sometimes it's hard to separate those beliefs, those thoughts, those voices, those demons, whatever you call them. It's pretty much same, those patterns. And what I want you to do is it's also a practical step. You see, I wanted you to sit down. It doesn't supposed to be like meditation on itself. It can be done in meditative state. It can be done with your eyes closed and just tune it in the neutral music so nothing bothers you, or just get your journal and start tuning in from time to time. As you go about your day, you just listen what's going on in your head, because a lot of the time there is going to be some voices that's going to be saying, hey, this diet not going to work for me. These things that Alex saying, I actually already tried that and it didn't work, or it's new method, it's weird, I don't want to even try. Why would I try if I already failed so many times? Now, this is one of the example of those voices. It can be, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, hey, I always fail in the past in all my life, so it's not going to work, or I will start tomorrow. This one that I went in this trap for few years when I was doing binge eating. I would stop, and then in a week I would like hear the voices, hey, one more time, Alex, I swear, let's do one more time. Let's go and indulge in this cake, in this condensed milk and bread, everything that you love. Let's do it one more time. I promise it's gonna be the last time. Believe it or not, that's the lie. This demon, this voice, this pattern, limiting belief, whatever you call it, whatever you believe, it's all correct. It's lying to you. It's tricking your mind. You need to dominate your mind. So you need to keep an eye what's going on in your head. It's your head and you're supposed to dominate there. So that was step number 4. Now, step number 5, we already touched about that, and Matt talked about it quite a lot already. It's analytics. You basically, step number 5 is modeling, creating the game plan and start taking small actions. This is where you probably already seen somebody in your life. It can be online, can be offline. Maybe it's your friend or somebody outside who already achieved the success that you're aiming for, who already creating these lasting changes, who not only lost weight, but actually feel great and keep it off long term. You might find this celebrity or this person from your neighborhood, whatever the case might be. You just, what you need to do is to model their success. Basically, it doesn't supposed to be the crazy plan. Just find what's dieting patterns they do, or nutritional patterns, as I like to call them. The word diet doesn't really resonate with me, but the point, or what exercises they do, or what are the beliefs they have. And then you slowly starting creating your own plan, and slowly starting taking action starting from now. I mean, right away, you put it on schedule. Maybe you hire the coach online or offline. Maybe you got the gym membership. Maybe you buy a meal plan or find online for free, whatever the case might be. I want you to start taking physical actions, not only mental that we've gone through so far, which is very, very important, but also in physical, in this real world where you need to start applying something. That was step number 4 out of the 7 steps. I'm almost done. Step number 5, the one that we've talked about a lot, actually, it's analytics. You absolutely need to see what's working and what's not working, because believe it or not, many times people would go on a diet and they're not gonna even measure how do they feel. Now, the scales, it's not always the best way to measure progress, but still, at least you might weight yourself. At least you might feel how is your digestion, how is your sleep improving. You have to absolutely track things, because if you don't know what's going on, you're not going to be able to see that things working or not, and you're never going to get anywhere. You just got, it was step number 6, analytics. And now the last step number 7, is actually when you see the data, when you see what's working, what not, when you see this working out system doesn't work for me, this nutrition, I feel indigestion, inflammation, how about I'm going to change that, or my weight is increasing, or I'm not losing, or even better, then you look in a mirror and your weight might be the same, but your proportion of the body is changed. You see you more muscular or toned, and you see you feel better. Then of course keep this one and just remove things that didn't work. That's step number 7. Remove things that don't work and keep on working and refining what's working for you. Now I have the 12 nutritional principles that we can dive later. But the point is, this is where I'm more talking about nutrition and some fastings and things like that. But that's the 7 steps of the body mastery roadmap, that I used for myself, that I share on my social media platforms, that I utilize with my clients and whatnot. And that's something that creates lasting change, which is I'm actually after.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love the fact that you really emphasize taking action all the way through all of those steps, because for anyone listening, it's just so important. You even all of those actions, you're probably going to struggle with some of those, and they're not always going to go right. But it's only through taking action that you're going to learn what's going to work and what's not going to work. So yeah, fantastic. Also, like for anyone, I've seen your transformation, Alex. It's amazing. So, I mean, just out of curiosity, like what did a diet or life, not life, what did your diet look like before you kind of made your transformation? What was a typical day? I mean, you mentioned obviously you were involved in like sort of alcohol and maybe drugs or whatever, but like nutrition wise, what was that looking like?
Well, back then I did know that there is actually something healthy and unhealthy at all. So I'm coming from the Russian family, so we eat a lot of the bready stuff, potatoes and things like that, ton of carbs. And don't get me wrong, I'm not against the carbs, even though I'm doing keto most of the year. The point is, I ate a lot of low quality fats, obviously, and a lot of the breadiness, all of that, and sugar and things like, just like normal person, you can say, the Russian style of the junk food, Russian McDonald's, and then when I started tuning in, I start listening to the fitness gurus where start saying to me, hey, you eat rice, you eat lean chicken, and that's pretty much it. 6 to 12 times a day, sometimes protein shake. And I thought, like, I don't feel healthy also. Like, I didn't feel healthy back then when I was eating mom's food, quote unquote. And now I'm eating this healthy fitness food and I'm always bloating. I want to throw up. Like, something is wrong here, And yeah, that was probably the worst. And after that, again, intermittent fasting and more like low carb principles, keto principles, paleo even, or keto or bulletproof afterwards, that tuned in for me really, really well. And I found it works, I don't know, perfectly, at least for me and with the people that I work it perfectly. I'm not pushing the ketogenic diet. For somebody, it might not work again, but that's the point. You try for yourself, and then you say to me, I'm not gonna push you or force you to do something. You know better than me what eventually going to stick for you, what's going to create lasting changes, right? I can provide you the game plan, but then eventually you tune it in, or I tune it in with the clients, whatever. So that's
yeah, I think, and what's so important for people listening is it's not often, it's very rarely a case of the diet doesn't work. It's as a black and white rule. It's a case of maybe the diet doesn't work for you, at your particular time. That same diet, like we said earlier, things can change in your life. Like a keto diet for some people, that can be maybe a little unsocial or like whatever, like however your lifestyle is. If maybe you've got kids and stuff, and like you can't imagine like going that low carb, then that maybe doesn't work for you now, but maybe in a few years time it does. So I think that's where people kind of get confused, is they think when you hear this, it doesn't work or it does work, it's the sort of saying the diet doesn't work. Ultimately, it's the best diet, let's face it, is the one that works for you with your goals and around your lifestyle and your genetics and your activity levels and your whatever it is you want to achieve. So just on that, let's dive into these 7 nutrition principles.
12.
Oh wow, you're in for a treat,
steps, guys. 7 steps for the roadmap and 12 nutritional principles.
Yeah, 12, you're in for a treat, guys. Here we go.
Yeah, again, I just want to make it clear that most of the year I actually doing myself. I'm doing cyclical keto, meaning 3 to 4 months I'm doing keto, clean, healthy one. And then for about a month, I'm going out and I have clean, healthy carbs. I'm not talking about junk food, McDonald's, KFC. I'm talking about good quality carbs, such as potato, buckwheat, a little bit of rice, pumpkin, things like that. But that's not the point. What I'm trying to say is I've created 12 nutritional principles, and it's not necessary. It's not for keto. It's not for not keto. It works for both. And that's what I want to share. Now, there is 7. I cut them to 7 gifts and 5 poisons. Obviously, we're trying to avoid as much as possible humanly poisons and add as much as possible gifts. But it doesn't mean that you need to do all of that at once, because you're going to overwhelm yourself and you maybe even die. So the point is, let me probably start with the gift. Gift number 1 is very simple. I recommend people as much as possible to stay organic, to go non-GMO, to have pasture-raised, grass-fed, grass-finished, as much as possible, as clean as possible. If it's fish, it's wild-caught and things like that. Now, I do understand that for somebody, it might be pricey. And for somebody in some countries, you just might not have this option. Well, again, we're not perfect. I'm saying at the best of your ability, first of all. Second of all, for those who think it's expensive, yes, it's a little bit pricier, but as I'm going to share with you all the gifts, you will understand that you're going to save money there, so you can allocate towards the quality of the food and not the quantity of the food itself. So first step is very simple. Again, go as clean as possible, organic as possible, grass-fed, grass-finished, and things like that. Gift number 2 is important. It's fiber. And I'm mostly talking about soluble fiber. I understand not everybody eats vegetables, but I give you some other options. What I wanted to say prior to that is, if you want to be healthy, if you want to be energized, and this is 12 nutritional principles, not only for weight loss and keep it off, it's also to get healthy, energized. And I think the quality of life is even more important than the longevity, which is you're still going to get. It's kind of the combination of both. So take care of your gut first, and your gut will take care of you. Believe it or not, our body is made of 100 trillion cells. We're made of cells. And roughly a little bit more, 50 to 100 trillions, I would say, depends on different statistics and different people. Each of us has roughly same amount of the gut bacteria, and all the bacteria that cover our body, our skin, they actually part of our immune system. They do so many things that if I'm going to dive into the topic, is going to take too long. But the point is, you need to take care of your gut biome. Those are good bacteria mostly. And what they eat something that we don't eat. They eat fiber. This is where soluble fibers come in. Fiber coming from the vegetables, fiber that cannot be digested in our digestive tract and goes to the intestines where the gut biome lives. And this is where it gets breaking down, and they create a beautiful, beautiful fat called butyrate and short-term fatty acids, which is really important and healthy and things like that. Again, I'm not going to dive too much into that. What I want you to take care of your gut, and they will take care of your health, of your weight loss, of your mood, and even of your sleep, because they affect so many things. I've seen so many studies that gut biome is just a very big topic. And the best way to add is to vegetables. Obviously, vegetables, the chia seeds, the flax seeds, the chicory root. I personally have those every single day, things, trying my best at least. Again, we're not perfect. So my friend, take note from this call, apply something. Don't apply everything. Don't get crazy. It took me 8-9 years of this transformation, health, weight loss, whatever. So it doesn't mean you need to chunk everything at once and do right away. I would not recommend that. So the next thing is I would recommend is obviously add good quality omega-3s and omega-6s. And yes, some of you might say, what, omega-6s? Everybody says it's highly inflammatory and it's so bad. And yes, if you're doing Western diet, obviously you have roughly 20-30 times more of omega-6s in your body than omega-3s. The point that I'm trying to make is the perfect balance between omega-3 and omega-6s. That's what important. That's not a lot of people talking about. Now you eliminated garbage oils. I got it. But now you still need to get those omega-6s and omega-3 in a good proportions. And the best proportion is omega-3 to omega-6s is roughly 1:2, 1:4. Not like Western diet, 1:50, 1:20. No, that's not healthy. I agree with those people who are saying that and the studies and whatnot. So what I recommend is to consume good quality omega-3s coming from the plant-based. Again, chia flaxseed, look how they are applicable here perfectly. Plant-based diet, whatever in this case works, vegan. Now if you're not vegan like me, then go for the animal omega-3s. Is the best choice is salmon, sardines, anchovy, mackerel, and herring. Those 5 seafoods, 5 fishes, contains a great amount of omega-3s, and at the same time they naturally preserved there by antioxidants that have in this real food, compared to if you buy omega-3s in the bottles, they're going to get oxidized, and they already sell 70% of the bottles on the market. When you pick it from the shelf, they're already oxidized, they're rinsed, but people don't know that. Again, it's just a little bit, I'm diving too deep. So let's,
you can sometimes test, can't you, with a taste test. I don't know if you've ever done that. It's disgusting, but I have done that, and it does work. You can definitely taste the difference between certain qualities.
Yeah, I did. I haven't done that. I just completely eliminated the oils coming from the fish oil peels. So I just use their food now. Again, flaxseed, I have chia seed, and I have this, the fishes that I mentioned. So that's my take on the number 3. It's add omega-6s and good quality fats coming from MCTs, coconut oil, flaxseed oil, olive oil, avocado oil, sesame seeds oil. That's a perfect match. Now, number 4 gift is it's testing. It's again analyzing the data, same as in my roadmap. But here you're analyzing the data. Hey, I was eating this food and that food. How do I feel? Do I feel blurry? Do I feel gassy? Do I get a good sleep after eating this specific food? Because that something works for me doesn't mean something works for you. If I eat avocado and for me it's perfectly, and everybody says it's healthy, I got it. But you have your own system, your own gut biome inside, and many other things. You might eat that and it might create inflammation into you, for example, right? So you see, you actually getting water retention and inflammation and pain, whatever the case might be. The point I'm trying to make is you better do the food sensitivity test, the blood test at the doctor, or at least track yourself. How do you feel when you start applying these nutritional principles? How was your sleep? How was your life changed? That was number 4, 12 principles of nutrition testing. Number 5, number 6, and number 7, they're going to be similar. It's where you're mostly focusing on giving your body rest and repair. Believe it or not, most of the people on the planet Earth, we eat 24/7. And even when we don't eat, when we sleep 8 hours, we actually, we eat before the sleep, right? We eat before the sleep, and then it goes through the digestion process. Your heart pumps blood more rapidly. Your insulin is skyrocket. Even if you're doing keto or whatever, your still insulin is going up, and your digestive system working all night long. And then you wake up, what you do, you're going to have your breakfast again to complete the cycle and keep on doing this thing. Now, your digestion system needs rest, my friend. It needs repair. It needs to cleanse. It needs some autophagy, some many things that I'm going to touch really quick. So number 5 is to don't eat 3-4 hours before sleep. I want your last meal would be, depending on your schedule, but 3-4, sometimes even 5. I do personally 5 hours before sleep. I don't eat, but I understand for some people it might be too much. 3-4 hours before the sleep, it will improve your circadian rhythm, because now you will digest prior to the sleep, and now you will wake up and have lots more energy just by adding this one little tip. Might help you. Now let's move to the tip number 5, nutritional principle number 5, and it's not also related to similar topic. It's not snacking. Listen, my friend, you think that most of the time you eat 3 times a day. I would share you the story, and maybe you think you have 2 snacks and that's about it. Like, I eat only 5 times a day, 3 main meals and 2 snacks. I will tell you the quick story about my mama. We have a vegetable garden, we have fruit garden, we have different fruits and whatnot. And during the summer, as I'm passing my mom, she always would grab some cherry or the strawberry, just one. And she doesn't know that this spike in your insulin, turning on the digestive system again, and stopping you completely, I will repeat, completely stopping you from burning fat. Now, between the meals, there is no better way to burn fat. That's your opportunity to burn fat, to get recovered a little bit. And what you do, you pass in, I don't know, the shelf, the table, on your kitchen table, and you grab this little walnut, piece of walnut, or the cherry, or just a little bit. You don't even calculate it as a snack sometimes. What I want you to do is sometimes is eliminate completely those little bites of little things. You still can have your snacks, but for me, it's better to have a little bit bigger meal where I have my snacks together with my dinner, for example, comparably. And I've seen studies where they took people, 15 people, and they eat exactly the same amount of calories, but one of them had before sleep snack, and another one, they actually had the snack together with them dinner or lunch, whatever that was. Now, just by doing that, one group lost 8 pounds more within a period of three months, I believe, where the other ones didn't lose that one. And it's kind of really important for me. No snacking, don't eat before sleep. And that leads me to the, I guess, last one in the gift. Gift number 7 is to also repair, recovery, give your body some time rest. I'm talking about fasting. Now, there is a lot of kind of fasting. There is, and I've done them, almost all of them. Dry fast, there is fat fasting, there is protein fasting, there is bone broth fasting, very good for digestive system, by the way. And there is alternate day fasting and intermittent fasting. Now, the most common is intermittent fasting. And what I'm trying to share with you, for those who never done that and afraid that you're going to die without food if you go like 12, 16 hours, that's not going to happen, my friend. And if you start doing that slowly, and you know what? In fact, don't do it every day. I don't want you to fast every single day. I want you to skip breakfast. For example, very simple, skip breakfast from time to time. Today you had breakfast. Let's make it fun. Let's tomorrow just simply skip breakfast. Or at first, if you're just starting with that, just reschedule your eating window where you don't have breakfast at 8, let's say in the morning, but you have 9, 10, and you slowly increase that. And then you might shrink your window to 8 hours of eating window, or 6, or even sometimes do OMAD, which is basically one meal a day.
Sorry to interrupt. I like that for people listening who haven't done intermittent fasting. I think that's a really good mindset reframe, because a lot of people who haven't done fasting before, just the word puts them in threat. Like that puts their reptilian brain starts going like, but if you talk about it in the positive, in the eating window instead, and you like, oh, this is the window of eating, then it's like, oh, okay, cool. That's something to look forward to, as opposed to I can't eat for this amount of time. Like, because that's the way intermittent fasting is most commonly sort of talked about or marketed, is you have to not eat for X amount of hours, as opposed to your eating window, which I think is a really good point.
Yes. And also, again, reframe it. Remember, this is the gift. I put it not in the poison column. I put it in the group of the gift, because you giving your body rest, rest from digestion, recovery is happening, your different types of the body, your cells. And remember, we talked that we've made of trillions and trillions of cells. Now, each cell during your window, when you're not eating, intermittent fasting a little bit, skipping your breakfast, each cell going to be rebuilt a little bit. The mitochondria inside of each cell, which is the power energy houses, which is really important for us, right? Have energy. They're going to start rebuilding itself and eliminating different junk parts of itself, and basically created the stronger cells, the healthier cells. It's like, look at it like janitary crew that is coming, and it's want to do the job while you're not there. You need to get out of the house, meaning not eating, and let janitary crew, which is the autophagy, all of this recycling, will come and clean up the garbage, clean up all of the mess that you left, and it will give you energy and vitality, longevity, improve the quality of your life. And of course, weight loss, weight maintenance, that would be working perfectly about that. That was the seven gifts. And
nice,
now
I like it.
Yeah, let's dive to the 5 poisons really quick. Shall we?
Let's do it.
So poison number 1 is pretty simple, and most of you already know that. But again, I want to remind you guys, everything you're listening is not about for you to know. I don't want you to be the master of knowing. I know that. I want you to be the master of taking small actions, not crazy plans, not crazy perfect things, but slowly and steadily improvement will lead you to success in life, with your body, with your business, with your relationship, whatever the case might be. So number 1 poison nutritional poison that I recommend people to cut completely, or eliminate completely, or cut back on, is processed foods. Now, there is a lot of processed foods that are good for you, but most of them not going to be good for you. And one of the example of the good processed foods, it would be, for example, Dutch cocoa powder. Dutch cocoa powder, they use process where they enhance. During the process, they enhance with potassium their cocoa powder. And now it gets even better than it was before persons start processing that, because now you get in the free great quality of potassium. And we need electrolytes like magnesium, potassium, obviously, right? Sodium. So that's one of the examples where processed food might be good. What I'm talking about, mostly I'm talking about processed foods that garbage and filled with almost nothing your body can digest properly, and things that additives, different fillers, preservatives, chemicals, toxins, flavor enhancers. There is many of things. So you better avoid those. Typically packaged snacks, typically it's desserts, bread, ready-to-eat meals, and sugary drinks, things like that. Those are the main one. But to make it very simple for you, to give the simple tip is to try to look at the label of the food, whatever you buy. The less ingredients there, the better, my friend. The less crazy words that you cannot even pronounce, the better for you. For example, let's take a look at avocado. You get avocado, how many ingredients there? There is one ingredient, only avocado. Now, that's not very processed much, right? I think that's more created by nature for you compared to if you get some snack, or if you get some low quality meat at the grocery store, like daily meat. So that's one of the eliminate or drastically reduce processed foods from your diet. Now, number 2 is to eliminate or drastically reduce consumption of wheat, bread, and sugar itself. I'm not going to dive too much into that. Everybody knows that sugar is bad, is addicted, and really better to avoid that. The wheat and the bread itself, the main thing that I want you to avoid the bread is because of the gluten. And gluten is the protein found in the bread. And what it does, it's actually disrupt the sealing in your digestive system, in you, what's they're supposed to be there. All of the gut biome, everything that's there supposed to stay there. When it's leaking through your gut, and what gluten does actually, and create the celiac disease, it's called, it's open the hole in your gut, and the stuff that's supposed to be in the gut is leaking from the gut, and it creates a lot of the inflammation, because your immune system sees that, and it sees it as an enemy, is something that doesn't belong there, and it attacks that, and it creates inflammation. You don't feel good, you don't sleep good, you getting overweight, your health is dropping, and we don't want that. So please just reduce or eliminate completely bread, wheat, sugary stuff. Now, the next thing I want to touch on, it's crucial, it's fat. The quality of the fat is matter. Remember, we're talking about the fats that you want to give to your body. We also have the fats that we want to completely eliminate or drastically reduce from our diet. I'm talking about highly omega-6s, low quality fats that actually oxidize easily when you heat them, especially canola oil, sunflower even oil. I used to love sunflower oil, but don't fry on it. We're talking about soybean oil, everything that's very cheap and put everywhere in the shelf. You better eliminate those processed fats, those trans fats, and hydrogenated oils, because that's good for they make it shelf stable, but they not necessarily know that it's bad for our body, that our cell cannot digest that properly. It doesn't know how to deal with that, and it might stick in your body for many months before it's going to be metabolized and actually partially metabolized and actually reduced from your body completely through detoxification process. So just avoid those low quality oils, low quality fats, and replace them with the one that we already recommend talk today. Now, the next one is something that people probably will hit me in the face if I say, but please, and it's not about because I'm keto, but if you, let me put it this way, if your goal is to lose weight and keep it off, if you're stuck in a weight loss plateau, or maybe weight loss plateau could be, you better cut back on fruits, not eliminate them completely. If you're on keto, then most of the things you will eliminate definitely. But the point is, cut back on them. Believe it, I will explain. There is 4 reasons why, but I will touch one of them really quick because I can talk too much of it and just need many interviews, many times for a big call, long call. So the point is, fructose is different from standard glucose. Fructose metabolized differently. Now, when you eat some glucose, for example, you eat some potato. This potato goes through the process and it's have chance to get burned as the energy, or get stored in the muscle glycogen, which you can use during workout, during walking, during any activities that you do. It gets stored as a glycogen, and that's a good carb in this case. Now, when it comes down to the fructose metabolism differently. It uses different pathway, a different bus, I would say, and it goes to the liver. And at a given day, for different people, a different number, roughly from 30 to 50 grams I would say more 40 grams of fructose can be metabolized in our liver. Everything else, and I repeat it, everything else will get stored as a fat, adipose tissue, fat in your body. If you want to lose weight, or you just got this last few pounds and you consume a lot of fruits, I would recommend not just remove them completely, but at least cut back, because again, I already explained.
You recommend 30 to 50 grams max. Is that your
of fructose a day top? Yeah, for different people, different number, but I would more stick to 30 grams in this case of fructose, not carbs. I'm not talking about carbs, just simple
the
carbs.
fructose based.
Yes, based just fructose.
And there's going to be some fruits that are going to be better than others.
Of course. Obviously, strawberry would be the best. I'm doing keto and I can consume 1 cup of the only one fruit that I can fill the whole cup. Even strawberry, I can have only half, blueberry only half, to be not kicked off the ketosis. But the raspberry is the best fruit that when it comes to the raising your blood sugar and the fiber and the actual fructose content. So raspberry is the best in my opinion.
Raspberry, blueberry, strawberry, they're the ones that we tend to recommend at LPT as well.
So the next one, again, there is more reasons about fruits. I'm just not going to touch that too long. But the next one is number 5, and the last one is to eliminate or cut back of one of my favorite food as well. I'm talking about dairy. Why would you eliminate dairy? Why would Alex say that, you might ask, if dairy is keto and everywhere people preaching it's good, so eat this and that? Again, every diet can be done wrong, even the keto. If you consume garbage fats, if you consume inflammatory proteins, a lot of dairy, it's not going to fly. Same can be with the vegan. You might be vegan and you might do the things wrong, and that's why diet might not work for you. But anyways, the point is, poison number 5 is that I recommend eliminate or dramatically cut back on it is dairy. And there is few reasons into that, even if, because usually dairy has huge amount of hormone of growth, and number 1, usually it's highly processed and very low quality to begin with, and it's like a gluten, and dairy cause actually opioid response for some people, like a drug. So I actually was addicted to the dairy. I love all kinds of dairy and I used to consume it a lot. Now I cut back and mostly focusing on the butter, and I will explain why. Because the main problem with dairy that I have, the main beef, is coming from the casein protein type A1. Now, I'm not going to explain what's type A1. The point is the casein protein, and I've seen so many studies linked to the huge amount of inflammatory. And if you didn't notice, everything I do with my dieting patterns, fasting, by the way, when you don't eat food, we're obviously lowering the inflammatory, right? You're not getting any food, which is great. So I'm consuming healthy foods and do sometimes fasting and not snack and things like that, because I want to keep my inflammatory low inflammation low. And the casein protein that's found mostly in dairy, cows, things like that, it's create a lot of inflammation. And that's what most of the people I worked and talked with, sometimes they have pain, indigestion, many things related, not only to lactose, but there's a lot of the downside in the consume a lot of dairy. Now, the one good thing that I would recommend eat from the dairy is butter. Butter is perfectly good, especially because it doesn't have the protein, right? Casein protein. And if you still want to go for the dairy because you absolutely love it, for example, like me, cheese, sometimes I would go and I would have the goat or the sheep aged cheeses, things like that. They usually break down. Why aged?
I have to confess, I just had
this
just
one, right?
Before this podcast.
Wow, that's awesome, because
I just had some cottage cheese.
Yeah, and
with
if you
oat cakes.
If you consume in the sheep or the goat one, it's actually has the type protein 8-2, which doesn't have A1, and the beef mostly comes from the A1, the studies have shown. So in this case, that's a better way to go. Also, if it's aged, like pepperoni romani cheese, different cheeses there, if it's aged is better, because it's breaking down partially already lactose and things like that. It's going to be easier for you to digest. Again, I want to repeat it really quick, guys. That's not the perfect nutritional plan, not principles. You don't need to apply everything I say to the T. As much as you can, you slowly will build up. One good habit will bring you towards to another one. And that's how I build my life, regardless it's weight loss, regardless it's business or personal life or food things. I slowly did it, not in one day. For some people that's gonna work. They just throw all the garbage and start eating all of the good stuff. For me, it didn't work like that. I'm not gonna lie. It took a lot of years, many problems, many obstacles, many learnings, a lot of investment in myself and practicing, forgiving myself multiple times. Remember, step number 1 from Body Mastery Roadmap, forgive yourself for being a human. Now, that doesn't mean you lower your standards and now you just eat garbage and do this. No, you raise your standards back based on your vision, on your goals. You create those rules for yourself. Hey, I'm not going to eat that, or I'm going to improve this or exercise, whatever the case might be. And slowly, step by step, you're improving upon that.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Amazing. I mean, like you said, that there's a lot there. Most people listening will probably want to re-listen again. And if you didn't make notes the first time, make notes, because Alex, as Alex said, it's all about taking action. So what my advice is to anyone listening is, what is the habit or the advice that Alex has just shared that you feel most confident in taking action on first? Just go with it, and just, and this thing is, it's about experimentation and finding out about yourself, and implementing these things, giving it a little bit of time before you decide, oh, this doesn't work or whatever. Give it some time, a week or 2 weeks, just start to notice the difference. And like you said, Alex, like, how am I feeling? Like, don't measure your success just by things like weight loss or whatever. You measure, how do you look at, how do you wake up in the morning? What's your skin doing? Like, all of those different things, all of those different measurables are so important, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, we've talked a lot about that. And the most important is start taking actions, because slow action every day will adds up. And eventually that's the main difference between successful people and not successful. So go for it, guys.
Yeah. Well, brilliant. I mean, thanks so much for your time today, Alex. I'm sure the listeners would love to find out more about, where they can watch. I've got to say to the guys listening, like, definitely check out Alex's YouTube channel for sure, because it's awesome. But yeah, where should people find out more about you, Alex?
Yeah, there is a few ways you can find more about me. There is the podcast show that I host, and there is a YouTube channel, as I said. The name for both are the same, which is The Body Mastery with Alex Yehorov. Now, Alex, I'm not going to spell, but Yehorov is wow, I forgot my surname.
Why?
A-E-H, I'm sorry, I'm joking. A-E-H-O-R-O-V. That's Alex Yehorov. Oh, I actually really misspelled it. Okay, yeah. Let me one more time. That's okay. So really forgot. Y-E-H-O-R-O-V. And for those who tune in right now, I actually make the special bonus for you guys. It's a downloadable PDF file where I put together all of the things that almost everything I mentioned. I put 12 nutritional principles there. I put there the Body Mastery Roadmap also for you, with the steps and the actionable steps that you are going to follow in order to achieve your success and lasting results. And I also add my healthier recipes cookbook. It is keto, I will say, but it's something that I use in my daily routine most of the time. So I think it's a bundle. It's actually the Body Mastery bundle. So if you want to find out more about that and download it, go to biohackbody.com/freebie. Biohack is BIOHACK, BODY.com/freebie. And again, if you want to work with me directly, just go to biohackbody.com and you'll find more information there.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Well, what I'll do just to help the listeners out is I'll put all of those links in our show notes, so you can find your way and you can start your body mastery.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, any last words of wisdom, Alex?
Same as I always say during every call. First of all, guys, whoever tune in right now, is you are a beautiful human being. I'm beautiful human being, Matt, beautiful human being. I want you to understand that we are miracles, and we have to forgive ourselves for whatever happened in the past. Doesn't matter what area. Forgive yourself and prime yourself towards the better future. Visualize, create your meal plan, game plan for whatever you tune in life, and start taking slow actions every single day. And because I believe in you, I believe in myself. If you can have at least 5% of the belief that I have for you, you're going to achieve it. You're really going to make it.
Oh, amazing. I love your energy, Alex. Thanks again.
Yep. Thank you, man.